Hello everyone, welcome to my video. Thank you for tuning in. This video is information only. I'm not going to do any demonstrations. This information is the sort of thing that I've noticed new knitters might have a reaction to. Oh, I can do that? Yeah, and it's also information that has made my knitting journey a whole lot easier. So I wanted to get it out there so y'all have it in one space. So y'all have it in one space. The number one, I think the most important lesson to know is that knitting is a personal thing, and it doesn't matter how you get to the final product, as long as it's, knitted, and you're satisfied with it, then you've done it correctly. And it doesn't matter how you got there. Did you use straight needles, circular needles, a loom, your fingers, a machine? One young lady on YouTube uses a crochet hook as part of her knitting, and she is doing it correctly. She is knitting, she is doing real knitting, okay? That's what she needs to do in order to produce whatever it is she's trying to make. So that's the first thing. You can change things up. You can change things around, make it totally personal. The second thing that might be affecting your knitting is the material that the needles are made of. The three groups, primary groups, are metal, wood, and plastic. Metal has the smoothest surface, then there's wood, then there's plastic. In my experience, and this is mine only, it doesn't have to be yours, I tried learning on aluminum needles, or aluminium, for those of you outside the US, and I could not make it work because the metal is so smooth, my stitches kept falling off. So I didn't have any control over what I was doing over the stitches. I couldn't hold them on long enough. I tried tightening them super, super tight in order to get them to stay on, and they still didn't stay on. I've tried plastic. I don't particularly like plastic because the yarn doesn't slip across the surface easily enough for my tastes. You might be fine. For me, wood is the ticket. I love working on wood. It gives me all the control I need. Excuse me. But again, like I've said about 10 times already, that's for me. You can use whatever material you'd like. The third point is how you hold the yarn and how you work the yarn. There's one that's called the Portuguese method, where the yarn is wrapped around the neck and the stitches are manipulated. The yarn is manipulated with the thumbs. You may also see it under Greek or Andean, but by far the most videos are Portuguese. Okay, so that's one method. The second method, or another method I should say, is English, also known as throwing. And that's one where you might notice some ladies, they position the needles. Guys also knit, I'm sorry. But they'll position the needle and they'll take one of their hands and they'll kind of do this. That's the throwing action. That's the classic, at least here in the US and England, that's the classic way of holding and working the yarn. I prefer the Continental method where my finger stays right there with the needle, and I just kind of have this sort of an action with my finger. Again, my personal preference. The last bit that may affect your knitting is how the knit stitch is actually made. Again, there's the English method, which is, again, the classic method used here in the US. I like using the combination method. That's the name I know it as. You may also find it under Russian. Yeah, that's pretty much the only two. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's right. I'm sorry. The English method is knitting through the front loop, and the combination / Russian method is knitting through the back loop. This is the working, I'm right-handed, so this would be my working needle. So the one is this way, that's English method going through the front loop, and the combination / Russian method is going through the back loop. So knitting is very personal. It's a very personal craft. Do it the way that works for you. Maybe the material of the needles are affecting how you knit, and you can go to a yarn shop, not a craft store, a yarn shop, and they'll probably have a selection of needles in some kind of a can. They'll have needles out that are loose, and if you don't like the needles that you're using, you can go to a yarn shop and try one of a different material. They'll let you do that. Some yarn shops also have classes so that they will show you the different things you can do, different ways to cast on, and yada yada. So knitting is personal. Do it the way you want. The material of your needles, how you hold the yarn, and how you make the knit stitch. Okay, I'll have the words again down below in the description. Oop, I am slowly moving. Sorry, my phone was just tipping back and back and back. Sorry if that's annoying. But anyway, that's the basic information well, that's what I learned eventually that have had the greatest effect on my knitting. My next video, I will introduce the project I am going to do. It is Christmas stockings. Details about that in the next video. And yeah, that's it. Leave your comments and questions below. I'd love to. I'm kind of a teacher. I'm a lifelong learner, and I've kind of got the teaching gene. I like to do that. So if you want to know anything, leave a question below. And yeah, see you in the next video. Bye.